All right, it's straight up 11 o'clock. We continue to track Hurricane Helene as it churns in the Gulf of Mexico, making its way towards the Big Bend area of Florida. Thanks for tuning in to NBC2 and ABC7. I'm Lisa Spooner.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Alan Campbell. We just got that 11 a.m. update. Big changes as well with ABC7 meteorologist Jim Dickey, NBC2 First Alert meteorologist Jason Dunning. Jim, let's start with you here. Sure. Big update there with that 11 o'clock update.
Yeah, winds are up. We've sort of been tracking the trends with where the center has been going. There has been a little bit of a jog to the east. And I'm going to address this in just a moment here, but I don't think that really changes our fortunes here that much, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, hurricanes, they wobble, they don't travel in a straight line. Sometimes it could, if you trace it out, it might be like a little zigzag or something, but the trend is still going to be, the overall motion is going to be to the north-northeast toward the Florida Big Bend, but still we're in the threat zone, and we're going to see at times some rough weather as we get into the afternoon and this evening. Yeah,
no question. We've been showing you the live shot, especially by the beaches. We've clearly gotten into the tropical storm force wind core.
Yeah.
Because, for many of us, the sun is out. For some of us, the sun is out, and the winds have picked up even further. But let's go ahead and take a look at that, at the latest stats from the Hurricane Center. Once again, winds 105 miles per hour. The pressure holding at 960 millibars. We're at the point now. We're at the point now with the storm where the hurricane hunters are flying around the storm basically constantly. Basically around the clock now, sampling the storm, trying to get the latest data and feeding that latest data into the models. A north-northeast movement still at 14 miles per hour, starting to pick up that forward speed. That trend will continue going forward. And hey, if there is one thing working against this from perhaps reaching those higher end intensities, Cat 4, Cat 5, is this is a quick moving storm. So it's not going to have as much time to sort of sip on that warm water like, say, Ian did going back to 2022 as it slowly crawled towards our coastline. Perhaps not enough time for this to ramp up towards that Category 4 intensity. But yes, there is clearly a movement to the east. When you take a look at the past track, in fact, the center on satellite, which not always lining up with exactly where the center is, but the center on satellite is a little east of the track. As I was tracking it, jogged about 30 miles east of the forecast track from the 8 o'clock update. And as Jason said a few moments ago, miles matter when it comes to hurricanes. For our purposes, not necessarily so, but certainly for what's going to go on up north here as this moves in. And to try to put some of your minds at ease, because I know you hear, hey, a storm's moving east, and you think back to previous storms here in southwest Florida, even with that jog to the east. We're still talking this at its current point in time, at its current latitude, Helene, more than 150 miles west of where Ian was at this point in time. Continue to point out, this is not coming here to southwest Florida. In fact, it's basically reached the latitude of Marco Island. It is nearly due west of Marco Island now, and 200 miles off to the south and southwest. The center is continuing on that northeasterly track. This would have to be moving basically due east right now to have a chance to make a landfall here. That is not in the cards. But again, miles matter as far as where the core of those hurricane force winds, those major hurricane winds, are going to go as this makes landfall later on today. If you have friends or family in Tallahassee, those 30 miles are going to make a big difference as to whether or not they get in the core of the major hurricane winds or if they slide off to the east. So that's a trend we'll be watching. But note, yeah, moving north and eastward now, this is being pulled northward by an upper level low. Note, actually a curve back to the north and west. Just because there's a northeasterly sort of shift now does not mean we'll get a shift back to the west going forward. And we also get those wobbles in the general motion with these major hurricanes too. Closest pass to southwest Florida will be as we get into the mid-afternoon hours, right about 1 and 2 o'clock. That's when it's going to lift northward of the Cape Coral area, sliding by Tampa as we go through the late afternoon, the early evening, landfall shortly after 8 o'clock, again on the Big Bend of Florida. Now, the wind core, very large with this storm. The hurricane wind core still fairly small. I'll have to redraw this because this just updated on me here, but the hurricane force winds, so those high-end numbers you're seeing in these updates that come out, only about 70 miles wide, meaning you got to get within about 40 miles of the center of the storm to get into those hurricane force winds. We won't here in southwest Florida, certainly not hurricane sustained winds. But a little more easterly movement, perhaps we get into some gusts in that range, and certainly We're in the tropical storm force wind core now. That tropical storm force wind core, again, I have to redraw this too, is 450 miles wide as this works its way north. This is a massive storm system producing widespread gusty winds. You see, we are seeing those gusts frequently. The tropical storm force now 40, 45, near 50 miles per hour. Earlier on, we were only seeing those types of winds in the rain bands. Now that we're in the main core of the winds from Helene, now we're seeing those winds even when the sun is out. So it is going to be windy the rest of the way here this evening. Along with that, I know the rain has stopped. We're not done with rain by any stretch of the imagination. Flood watch remains in effect for all of Southwest Florida until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Rain will continue through the afternoon, the evening, the night. Yes, a break with that rain right now because we've gotten this dry slot to work in. We're starting to see the next sort of burst of downpours forming up on the fringes of Helene's circulation. That'll be the next wave of rain to try to work in. And you can sort of get an idea where the latest rain bands are starting to form up from Key West radar. One right here, another close to the core. There's actually the center from Key West's radar. So we'll be watching this next rain band as it noses towards the coast, at least for now, as I take you through the 2-hour futurecast, showing you this latest wave of downpours clipping by the Lee County Islands, sliding by coastal Charlotte County, and then tracking off to the north. But we'll take a look at how the rain will play out as we go through the evening, through the overnight. We'll take a look, too, at the ongoing threat for coastal flooding and storm surge. And again, that threat even picks up as the storm lifts north and winds turn onshore. More on that.